Hey everyone, Joe here from Different Fins. Today we are going to do a detailed review of my new kayak. I've had it out a few times fishing. It's the Old Town Sportsman 120 PDL. I think I've used it enough now I can go over it in better detail and show you everything about this kayak. I also just want to say I am in no way sponsored by Old Town. I saved up the money and I bought this kayak myself, full price. So you know everything I'm saying today, it's going to be honest. Now we are going to do a slow front to back over everything in the kayak. There's a drain plug here because you can somehow get water, I guess if you have the caps open, get water in the hull and you'll want to drain it. That's what that's for. Handle. This you could actually unhook and hook with one hand, just like that. And this is a well-sealed dry storage. So not if, but when I go on a long camping trip, I'll be able to put my tents, sleeping bag, whatever, pads, food inside of here. It does continue down the hull, so you don't want to put any small items in here because it looks like they could roll down into the kayak. But there you have it again. It's a little dusty because I drove down a dirt road to get here. Next is the drive. This is the PDL drive. It simply fits into these grooves, and then you turn the locks and you're ready to go. When you're in the kayak and you want to put your drive down, you'll see right here there's just a little spring lock. You give it a little tug and it comes out and slips on down, just like that. And then when it's locked in, it stays up. You have more storage in here. I'll go over the storage in the cockpit area while I'm out on the lake. These rails are for your seat. A drink holder. I guess you need a pretty wide drink to be stable inside of that. Here's your lever to lower the rudder, which I can't do right now because the bungees are on it. You have a lock box there that also lets you access your hull. A couple of straps for the seat. Switch over to this side. Obviously rod holders. Here's your forward facing rod holder. This is really nice when you're sitting in the kayak and you just caught a fish or you need to tie a line. You put it in here and that way the line's not pulling you backwards. It's right there ready for you to go. Here on the side, that is the paddle holder. When you're using the PDL drive or not paddling, you click your paddle into here and there's a little rubber lock that goes over top of it. This little knob is the steering. You have tension right here, so you can go tighter or looser, easier to turn, and that controls the rudder. When you have the bungees on the rudder, you could actually use this as a handle to pick up the back, but when you're ready to use the PDL drive before you get in the kayak, you want to take those off. This is simply extra storage. You could put crates, coolers, whatever you want in here. There's a shallow water mount for a pole anchor, which I probably will get eventually. Just 4 screws. You get the plate that mounts everything to it. All the hardware should come with that when you do order it. You can see I keep my net in my third rod holder. I just find that really convenient. You have rails on either side. Pretty much all fishing kayaks come with these. You could hook up a fish finder, extra rod holders, you name it, you could probably get for that. So let's go ahead and put in the seat. You have straps on the side so that you could adjust how far back you want to lean. Some people like to sit more upright. Some people like, you know, lean back. And these locks just ride on these rails. And when you first get into the kayak, you'll have to figure out where on the rail you belong, because people have different length of legs, different strokes. For me, for myself, I know when there's 3 holes showing, it's the perfect pedaling distance. There's more storage underneath the seat. That's perfect for a tackle tray. You don't have to turn around while you're fishing. That just stays right there and it's ready for you. Here's a quick look at the bottom of the hull. See right here, there's a mount for your transducer, so you can hook up your electronics and it's all built in. This kayak, it comes with a lifetime hull warranty and 5 years on the drive. Hopefully I'll get that many years out of it and then some before I buy another kayak. Let's get this thing out on the water. Oh, nice bass right there. Okay, so paddle just clips in like that, and then that little rubber piece locks it in. PDL drive. Unlock. Slide it down. Lock it. This box here, which is also built into the drive, is perfect for, you know, wallet, keys, phone. Locked up, ready to go. The rudder going down, and we're ready to rock. Another thing I didn't mention are these 2 grooves right up here. You could actually lay down your rod as well. I use this one for my bump board to measure fish. And over here, you'll see my fly rod. Fly rod reels are right at the back of the rod, at the butt. So obviously a regular rod holder won't work for this. So I just slide it under my seat, into the groove, and you're good to go. Yeah. You see the tackle tray, so convenient. It was right there. This pouch here on the side, I gotta keep my fish scale. This one I keep my pliers, so they're nice and handy. Let's try some fishing. Here we go. Fish on. That's a nicer bass. Woo! Look at the this one in the net. Oh, no way. Here he comes. Oh. He broke me off. What? Okay, I guess I'm done fly fishing for the day. That would be a bass on a bed right there. And it doesn't even care that I'm above him. So now what I have is a Ned rig. There you go. That was quick. Oh, look at that. I got my fly back. There's my fly. So I could do some fly fishing again. So apparently I caught the right bass. There, finally caught one. I think my luck is changing because I had a rough start with the fly fishing, and then a fly was broken off by a big bass. I continued to work that spot, and I think that's the bass that broke me off. And I got my fly back. Cool. Go. Fish on. Ooh, that's a strong fish. That's a strong fish. Nice. He's not as big as his fight though. Nice little bass. Another thing about this kayak is, well, I'm guessing like most good fishing kayaks, they're extremely stable, easy to stand up in. Take a look at this clip. This was for my first time out in the kayak, and I was standing in it next to some white water, some dangerous current, but I was completely safe. Well, you've seen me catch fish on the fly, fish on the Ned rig, jigging. let's try our luck at some trolling. Let's see how versatile this kayak is. It is fairly deep here, so I'm going to start off with this diving X-Wrap. I'm going to troll along these trees, this flooded forest. And I have a steel leader on there. No, I don't. I have a 30-pound fluorocarbon leader on there that I tied myself, just in case some toothy critters decide to hit. All right, let's get trolling. There we go, fish on. Got a fish trolling. Oh, it's a pike. Go figure. Go figure, but that's okay. Ooh. Trolling works. There we go. So I've talked about all the things I like about this kayak. I caught fish 3 different methods. I caught them jigging, trolling, and fly fishing today, just to show you how versatile it can be. But now I'm going to tell you about 2 things that I would change to potentially make this kayak better. First thing I would do is there's these knobs. Once you get this centered and in place, you tighten them down. They're like set screws, so it doesn't wiggle back and forth. Well, it's in a really awkward place. I would have had it with the knobs on top so that you can crank it down and get some good torque. Really tighten it up good. That's the one thing. The second thing is sometimes I like to anchor in deep water, so I have an anchor with a 25-foot rope. And really the only place I've found to tie it to is this handle. It would be really cool if these kayaks came with an integral cleat or some kind of loop that you could tie a anchor rope to, possibly in the front with some way to grab it. But those are the 2 things I would change. Those little knobs and some place to tie up an anchor rope to. A good solid anchor rope. Okay, back to fishing. Got him. Right at the landing. Why not catch one last fish? Woo! There we go. Nice way to end the day. Last fish of the day. Right at the landing. Nice. What a beautiful evening. I just released a fish I caught right at the landing. I'm just about to take the kayak out. I am extremely impressed with it. I guess that's what happens when you do your research before making a purchase. But if you have any more questions about the Old Town, especially the 120 PDL, leave them in the comment section. If I don't answer it, somebody else will. But yeah, I'd say I'm satisfied. It's really good. It's only my 4th time taking it out, and I'll be taking it out a lot more. Anywho, I'm gonna land the kayak, take it out of the water, head home, and we'll catch you next time. So now for the big question. Why didn't I buy a Hobie? Hobie's been around for a long time. They're the #1 seller of fishing kayaks. But when I researched which kayak to buy for myself, I didn't just listen to what some YouTubers said or even their advertising. I had a checklist of criteria that I wanted for myself. And that's the same way everybody else should buy their everything. Gear, kayaks, fishing rods, everything. Find out what you want, make a checklist, and then go straight to the website, primary source, and read the specs. So the #1 thing on my checklist was actually weight capacity. I compared the 120 PDL to the Hobie Mirage Outback 12-footer, and like, I used to be a 330 pound weightlifter. I'm not that big anymore, but I'm close to 300 pounds. So weight capacity, it does mean something to me, especially on a longer trip when I'm taking lots of gear. But the Hobie Mirage Outback has a weight capacity of 425 pounds, which is respectable. But the Old Town 120 has a weight capacity of 500 pounds. That's 75 more pounds that I can carry, and I'll be grateful for it. The second thing I looked for was the drive system. I know Hobie is well known for its Mirage drive, which is the flipper style that a lot of people have seen. It's very innovative, clever, but the one flaw it had for me was it didn't have instant reverse. I've literally watched videos of people fishing in kayak tournaments with the Hobies. They get a huge fish of a lifetime, or at least a good weigh-in fish, next to cover, and they have to take their hand off the reel for a split second, but that's enough, and then reach down, grab a cable, pull it, and then the flippers will reverse direction, and then when you pedal, you actually go backwards. With the Old Town, I'm able to instantly start pedaling forward or backwards, and I could go back and forth as much as I want to even stay on a single spot. Hobie just simply cannot do that. And in that regard, Old Town wins in my books. There's a couple smaller points that a lot of people look at when they're buying a fishing kayak. One is top speed. Top speed of the Old Town and the Hobie are close to 7 miles per hour if you're really going flat out. I think Old Town actually had the edge by like 0.3 miles per hour in one head-to-head test I watched. But is that really even a good point? Because who's gonna pedal flat out as hard as they can? Nobody does. You're usually traveling at, half speed, something you could efficiently do all day long. So top speed really means nothing to me. The other thing is weight. Clearly I don't have a problem with weight. I could easily carry this. It's got a few pounds on the Hobie, so in that regard, flies. Hobie actually wins in the weight class because it's a little bit lighter, but like for me, that's negligible. So that's 1 point for Hobie, 1 point for Old Town. Those two, whatever. They could just wipe each other out. The last of the big three criteria was, for me, not a deal breaker, but for some people it might be, and that's price. The Old Town 120 PDL, another fly, goes for MSRP is $2,199 US, and the comparable Hobie Mirage Outback is an insane $3,149. $1,000, it might not seem that much if you're buying a house or a car or a truck, something like that. But when you're talking about a $2,000 kayak and a $3,000 kayak, for what my checklist says is an inferior kayak, cost 50% more. Like, I just can't look past that. So it was a really easy decision to go with the Old Town. For somebody else who's got $1,000 to spare and the whatever it is 5 or 8 pounds of weight makes that much of a difference, and you fish in open water where you don't need instant reverse, then okay, get a Hobie, I guess. But for me and what I want and need, Old Town wins.